While it never would have happened without the help of hundreds, maybe even thousands of hands, all willing to help those in need, we can safely say it started with a young Marist, Brother Tom Petit. In 1981, Brother Tom was called to a place that most people had never heard of, Calcutta, India. He worked at the side of a woman who would spend her entire life serving the poorest of the poor, Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa asked him and many others to go back and serve the poor in your community. When he returned to the Merrimack Valley, Brother Tom saw and experienced firsthand the level of poverty that those in his community were facing daily. Along with members of the Basilian Salvatorian priests, churches, schools, and community partners, he opened the Lazarus House Shelter at 48 Holly Street in Lawrence, Massachusetts.
We serve the homeless. We give them shelter, food, and clothing. I go under the bridges. I go to the common behind the buildings to find people even who don't come to us. And we also just try to bring a sense of joy even to the people in our own neighborhood.
The early years were marked by tremendous strides in providing a helping hand to those in need. Following the opening of the shelter, Lazarus House Ministries opened the Good Shepherd Thrift Store and St. Martha's Food Pantry. As important as those landmark openings were, something more important was happening. A community was being established. A relationship of trust was forming between those serving and those served. Individual volunteers, faith-based organizations, business small and large, all joined together to help. It was that family of generous givers that continuously pulled together over the years to help us overcome a shrinking economy, as well as man-made and natural disasters.
Feliz Navidad to you, too.
In 1993, Bridget Shaheen became the second executive director of Lazarus House Ministries and would begin a 26-year tenure of listening and responding in kind that ushered in an inspirational expansion of services. The legacy that is Lazarus House Ministries is based on the 5 pillars of support that we have come to know today: providing food, clothing, shelter, advocacy, and community resources to great numbers of guests, numbers unimaginable in the early days. Bridget's belief that those in need truly sought a hand up and not a handout led her to create transitional services that enabled our guests to move forward more productively in life. Some of those transitional services included English as a second language classes, culinary skills, banking and budgeting skills were taught, schooling was obtained for children, and ultimately housing was provided on both temporary and transitional basis. The Lazarus House story would not be possible without the personal commitment of volunteers, whose individual contributions formed a matrix of giving that is stronger today than at any time in the past 40 years. And in the end, they too discovered what we have all learned: that giving is also the gift we give to ourselves. As we look to the next 40 years, Lazarus House Ministries' new executive director, Carmen Vega, reminds us all to never stop counting our blessings. To remember that faith in God has provided us with the legacy we enjoy and what will propel us to a future where want is not so painfully felt. One thing, however, will always remain the same: the doors of Lazarus House will always be open to those who need it.
That our guests are going to come in, they're going to be nourished, both food and soul.
I feel loved, I feel affirmed. I'm giving the Lord the greatest that I can give him, which is part of the education and love that I have been given.
You have no idea the blessings you do for these families, and we appreciate it.